so you get through buds. How did you decide like, hey, I want to be a sniper? Like did that just naturally happen?
Yeah, I had no real interest in being a sniper. I thought it was cool, but it wasn't something that I was like aspiring to do. It was just Glenn and I we were new guys, and as a new guy, you just kind of shut your mouth and do what you're told. And our chief, Dan, said, "Hey, we're short 2 snipers. You guys are the best new guy, the best shots in the platoon. We're going to give you an opportunity." And typically, new guys didn't get that opportunity, so we were pretty nervous because we didn't want to like let the platoon down. And it had 30% of the students fail that go to sniper program, and they're all like super high caliber guys. But yeah, we just kind of got picked. And so, yeah, I went through sniper training. It was like incredibly stressful, like more stressful than SEAL training. Like mentally, just every day was stress. Like every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, you're shooting for to not go home. You're like you
Yeah.
can't miss. Um, and but I made it through. Um, yeah, and then we were on the Cole. I remember when the Cole got bombed. Even as a 23-year-old, I was thinking, wow, like the 2 guys in a crappy dinghy almost sank $1 billion warship.
It's insane.
Like the nature of warfare is like changing. This is crazy. And I was like, why would they even pull in here? Like we were glassing around the perimeter, and there was a bunch of bad dudes there. And yeah, I came back from that. At the time I was married. My my I was in another workup. My ops officer, Kevin, who I think wrestled for Michigan, he was a beast. He was like, "Hey, I know you want to reenlist tax free, but I need you to jump into this kind of problem platoon." I don't know if you experience this in sports, but in the SEALs, we break up entire platoons just for chemistry. It's just not working. And this one platoon, everybody knew Echo Platoon, and they kind of scrapped everybody, kept a few core guys, and then rebuilt it. And they asked me to come be one of the senior guys to rebuild. And we had an amazing chief and an amazing platoon commander, Chris Cassidy, Chris ended up becoming the second Navy SEAL astronaut, ran the astronaut program at NASA. I think he's retired now. And so I jumped in Echo Platoon, and then Echo Platoon was set to deploy in another 4 months. My wife was going to give birth to our son um, in like, I think right about the time we're going to deploy, and they said, "Hey, we'll hold you back so you could see the birth of your son, and then you can meet up the platoon overseas." Well, then 9/11 happened,
Yeah.
and then when I saw the second plane crash in the towers, that's when I knew. I was like, I'm not going to see my son's birth. I'm out. I'm going to be deployed for sure, and that happened. So I was in Afghanistan. First went to the Middle East and Qatar, and then we went to Kuwait. We did some shipboarding, joined another platoon doing the shipboarding stuff. Then we went to Qatar, and then over to Afghanistan. And it was crazy. Like I remember landing in Kandahar, and there was still like blood and glass, and Marines were wandering out of the perimeter, stepping on landmines. It was crazy. So I was in Afghanistan, but the one thing I would say about Afghanistan, when we deployed, there was a very clear mission and purpose. Like people ask me all the time, like, "Oh, you don't have any like PTSD or issues?" Like I had some issues, mostly around losing close friends. Um, but that deployment to Afghanistan, I went on, I don't know, 20, 30 missions, saw a lot of stuff, but I think I don't have issues with that combat deployment because we had purpose behind it. Like we had a very clear purpose. We're destroy the training camps, kill the bad guys, and try and catch Osama bin Laden. And we largely did that within the first 6 months. And I think America should have left.
Yeah.
The problem was we stayed, and it turned into my generation's Vietnam. Like it became no purpose. And the rules of engagement when I went over was 15 years old, fighting age male with a gun, shoot him. Like that was it.
Yeah.
Very clear purpose, very clear mission, very simple. and we did the job like a very, very efficiently. And then it just turned into like ridiculousness. Because I remember I had friends in 2010 that would go on missions, like kill a bunch of bad guys, come back, and as they're like reloading their magazines, some NCIS little skinny twerp NCS guy is like grilling him, like, "Why'd you shoot this guy? Why'd this go? You know, why?" Like second guessing him on this mission. And it was crazy. I remember.
Not to cut you off, but I want to ask you a question. Do you think that the reason we didn't leave there is because the money that was being made by the military industrial complex was just so great? You know, these all the bureaucracy that goes on and the politician warmongers, like the money that was being made, it was too great for them to just be like, oh, we should just leave then.
Yeah, no, 100% right. But it gets, look, I went later on, I left the military and went to Harvard Business School. Everything is about incentives. The incentives are in place still. It's why our political system is broken today. Like the incentives are not aligned, right? We have a political system that delivers bad decisions. Like Kamala and Donald Trump are not the best America has to offer by far. And the system's broken. We have a two-party duopoly that has no incentive to change. They control the system, and they deliver these bad choices every 4 years. And like we're still filling out bubbles and like voting machines by paper. Like, come on, we do our banking by cell phone. We should be able to vote by phone instantly. But that's a whole nother subject. Back to what you asked, 100%, the system of lobbyists, defense companies, the military Pentagon, the whole machine was just like grinding on and incentivized to continue. Like they didn't want it to stop. Everyone's making money. We had to think about this. We had 1,100-ish SEALs pre 9/11. That number doubled. We had one admiral pre 9/11, Admiral Smith. Now we have like 5 or 6 admirals. So now it's like the SEAL upward mobility is expanding. People are making rank. They don't want this to slow down. Like this train is going, and everyone's profiting off it in some way, right? They're promoting up rank. Billets are opening up. Defense companies making money. Stock prices going up. Politicians are getting how they get reelected. They gotta raise a lot of campaign funds. Where the lobby groups are funneling big money into their the super PACs, getting these guys elected. So it's the whole thing. I don't think there's like some back room, a bunch of white dudes in a back room conspiring to like keep us in Afghanistan. But I just think the machine and the incentives are totally misaligned. And that's something that we really have to fix in America, because look, I live in Portugal now. Portugal is amazing. I'm an American taxpayer. I still pay my federal taxes, but food quality is better, lifestyle is better, healthcare system is better. America has big problems, and it needs to fix. And a lot of it, I mean, it would start with our election system, like campaign finance cap, vote by phone, term limits for sure. It's ironic that a career politician like Biden is calling out the Supreme Court justices for like having term limits. Like, yeah. Every politician should have term limits. I actually think you should also extend the presidency to one term, maybe a 6 or 8 year term.
Yeah, I think, because how do you get anything done in 3.5 years, really?
Yeah, and you're running for reelection right away. You're making decisions based on getting reelected, not on what's best for the country.